हे लर्नर्स, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। अभी मैं बीपीएससी 101 यानी कि 101 जो हमारा बुक का नाम है अंडरस्टैंडिंग पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी, मैंने इसे इंग्लिश में ओवरव्यू देने की कोशिश की है। हमारा इंग्लिश काफ़ी सिंपल रहेगा और जो भी डिफ़िकल्ट वर्ड होगा मैंने उसको विद द मीनिंग नीचे इंक्लूड करती गई हूँ। मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई दिक्कत होगा, अगर होगा तो मैं उसमें ओवरव्यू ज़रूर दूँगी। ठीक है, तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। और हाँ, मैं बिल्कुल स्टोरी की तरह बताऊँगी एक एक चीज़, ताकि कोई दिक्कत ना हो और एग्जाम में अच्छे से लिखा जाए। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं विदाउट एनी डिले। सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, व्हाट इज पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी? टू अप्रोचेस, normative and empirical. We can see when I complete this questions answer, then we can see, then we can understand what is normative and empirical. So the long answer, political theory is a branch of political science, that studies idea, value and concept related to politics and government. It tries to explain how society should be organized and how power should be used. Political theory discuss important concepts like justice, liberty, equality, rights, authority, democracy, and power. These ideas help us understand political institutions and political behavior. Political theory has two main approaches. First है normative approach. The normative approach is concerned with values and ideas. It answers questions like what is a good state, what is justice, what should be the role of the government. The approach is based on moral judgment and tell us what ought to be, not what actually exists. So now we can see empirical approach. So the empirical approach studies fact and reality. It focuses on how political institutions actually work, how people behave in politics. This approach is based on observation, data and evidence. यानी कि फर्स्ट बात करता है कि हमारे पास कौन सा नियम होना चाहिए, हमें क्या करना चाहिए, और ये देखता है कि हम ऑब्जर्वेशन डाटा मतलब कि जब चीज़ें लागू हो जाती है तब इसको ऑब्जर्व करता है कि हाँ ये सब कुछ अच्छे से चल रहा है कि नहीं। तो आगे देखेंगे, दस पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी हेल्प अस अंडरस्टैंड बोथ आइडियल पॉलिटिक्स एंड रियल पॉलिटिक्स। इन द लास्ट हम लोग डिफिकल्ट वर्ड्स मीन्स भी देखते जाएंगे। नॉर्मेटिव मीन्स रिलेटेड टू वैल्यूज और आइडियल्स। इम्प्रिकल यानी कि बेस्ड ऑन ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड फैक्ट। जस्टिस मीन्स फेयरनेस फॉर एवरीवन। लिबर्टी यानी कि फ्रीडम। अथॉरिटी यानी कि लेजिटिमेट पावर। So what is politics? Study of state and power. Long answer. Here is state means not about our 28 state. State means like whatever we have any politician and some like PCS, I guess. So state means that is. So I'm thinking what is politics. Politics is the process through which decisions are made for society. It deals with power, authority, governance, and distribution of resources. Politics is mainly concerned with the state, which include government, law, and institution. Through politics, rules are made and implemented to maintain order in society. Politics is also the study of power. Who gets power? How power is used? And for what purpose? Power helps the government to enforce laws and policies. Thus, politics can be understood as the study of state and power that shapes public life. Now we can see some difficult word meanings. State means political organized with government and territories. ठीक है, एंड पावर मीन्स एबिलिटी टू इन्फ्लुएंस अदर्स। गवर्नमेंट्स यानी कि गवर्नेंस यानी कि प्रोसेसिंग ऑफ गवर्निंग। अथॉरिटी यानी कि एक्सेप्टेड पावर। नाउ थर्ड क्वेश्चन इज liberal approach to political theory. Answer, the liberal approach emphasizes individual freedom and rights. It believes that the individual is more important than state. Liberal support freedom of speech, equality before law, limited role of government, democracy and rule of law. According to liberal thinkers, the main purpose of the state is to protect individual rights and promote personal development. This approach supports capitalism, private property and free market economic. Here is some difficult word meaning. Individualism means importance of individual, मीन्स हमें इंडिविजुअल चीज़ों को क्या बोलते हैं, इंपॉर्टेंस देना चाहिए, उनका मतलब वेलफेयर देखना चाहिए। डेमोक्रेसी मीन्स गवर्नमेंट बाय पीपल। रूल ऑफ लॉ, लॉ इज सुप्रीम। कैपिटलिज्म मीन्स प्राइवेट ऑनरशिप ऑफ रिसोर्सेस। हियर इज द फोर्थ क्वेश्चन, मार्क्सवादी यानी कि मार्क्सिस्ट अप्रोच टू अ पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी। आंसर, द मार्क्सिस्ट अप्रोच, नॉट मार्क्सिस्ट लाइक मार्क्सवादी, Marxist approach is based on the ideas of Karl Marx. It focuses on class struggle and economics factors. According to Marxists, society is divided into two main classes. First, bourgeoisie, that means owners of means of production, and second is proletariat, that means working class. Marxist believes that the state serves the interest of the ruling class. Politics is seen as a tool to control the working class. The Marxist approach aims for a classless society where there is no एक्सप्लॉयटेशन यानी कि कोई बर्बाद चीज़ नहीं हो, एंड एवरीवन इज इक्वल। Here is the some difficult word meaning. Class struggle means conflict between social classes. Exploitation यानी कि unfair use of labor. Means of production, factories, land and machines. Classes society, society without divisions. Fifth number question है conservative approach to political theory. Answer: the conservative approach believes in tradition, custom, and gradual change. Conservatives oppose sudden and radical change in society. They believe society develops slowly over time. Tradition and institutions should be respected. Authority and disciplines are important. Conservatives support social stability and believe that experience is more important than theory. Here is some difficult word. Tradition means customs passed through generations. Gradual change means slow change. Stability यानी कि balance and order. Authority means power to command. Here is our first question, but ये हमारा 6 क्वेश्चन है, पर क्वेश्चन कैसे पूछा जाएगा, किसको हम कैसे लिख सकते हैं, इसलिए मैंने इसको इंक्लूड किया है. सो व्हाट इज पॉलिटिकल थ्योरी? आंसर: normative and empirical approaches. Political theory is an important branch of political science which deals with the study of political ideas, values, and concepts related to the state and society. It helps us understand how political systems should function and how power should be used. Political theory discusses concepts like justice, liberty, equality, rights, authority, democracy, and power. These ideas help in evaluating political institutions and guiding political action. Political theory has two major approaches. First is normative, which is we know. The normative approach is value oriented. It focuses on ideal and moral principles. It asks questions such as what should be an ideal state, what is justice, what should be the role of the government. This approach tells us how ought to be, not what actually exist. Empirical. Now we can see empirical approach and we know about it. Like the empirical approach is a fact based and practical. It studies how political institutions actually work, how people behave in political situations, real political process and events. Thus, political theory combines both ideal thinking and real political analysis. Same thing, normative means based on values or idea, empirical means based on fact and observation, justice means fairness, liberty means freedom, power means authority to rule. Next question, what is politics? Politics is the process through which decisions are made for society. It is related to power, authority, governance, and distribution of resources. The central subject of politics is the state, which includes the government, law, and political institution. Through politics, rules and policy are made to maintain order and stability in society. Politics is also described as the study of power. It examines who holds power, how power is acquired, how power is exercised and controlled. Thus, politics plays a vital role in shaping society and influencing people's lives. Some meanings of difficult words. State means political organization with government and laws. Power, ability to influence others. Governance, process of administration. Authority, that means legitimate power. Third question is liberal approach. What is liberalism? Answer: the liberal approach emphasizes individual freedom and rights. It believes that individual is more important than state. Key principles of liberalism include freedom of speech and expression, equality before law, limited government, democracy, rule of law. Liberal believes that the main function of the state is to protect individual rights and freedoms. The state should interfere as little as possible in the personal life of citizens. Liberalism supports constitutional government and capitalist economic, where private property is allowed. इंडिविजुअल हम लोग ने ये देख चुका है. अब हम लोग देखेंगे मार्क्सिस्ट अप्रोच. मार्क्सिज्म एक्चुअली हम लोग ने ये देख चुका है, लेकिन फिर थोड़ा सा देखेंगे. द मार्क्सिज्म अप्रोच इज बेस्ड ऑन द आइडियाज ऑफ कार्ल मार्क्स. इट एक्सप्लेन सोसाइटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्लास स्ट्रगल. अकॉर्डिंग टू मार्क्स, सोसाइटी इज डिवाइडेड इनटू टू मेन क्लासेस. फर्स्ट इज ब्यूरोजियोसिस, दैट मीन्स ऑनर्स ऑफ means of production. Third is proletariat, यानी working class who sell their labor. Marxism argued that the state worked in favor of the ruling class and support exploitation of workers. They believe that politics is closely linked to the economic structure. The ultimate goal of Marxism is establishment of the classes society where there is no exploitation and everyone is equal. Class struggle means conflict between social classes. Exploitation means unfair use of labor, means of production, land, factories, machine. Classes society, society without classes mean. Now we can see fifth questions, and once again, oh, that is a different, okay. Yeah, now we have some different. Oh, once again. Okay, let's see again. Conservative approach. The conservative approach believes in tradition, custom, and gradual change. Conservative approach sudden and radical change in society. They believe that society develops slowly over time. Tradition and institutions should be respected. Discipline and authority are necessary. Stability is more important than rapid change. Conservative aims to preserve social order and continuity by respecting established practices and values. Meaning, वही है. Tradition means custom passed through generation. Gradual change is slow and steady change. Stability, that means balance and order. Discipline, that means obedience to rule. मतलब कि आगे के पला करना. अब हम देखेंगे फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन. यहाँ से हमारा मेन क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट होता है. एक्सप्लेन द डिफरेंस बिटवीन लिबरलिज्म एंड नॉन लिबरलिज्म. आंसर once again. Liberalism and neoliberalism are two important political and economic ideologies. Though both support freedom, they differ in their understanding of the role of the state, economic, and society. Liberalism developed in the 7th and 18th century with thinkers like John Locke and J.S. Mill. It focuses mainly on individual liberty, equality, and rights. Liberalism believes that individuals are rational and capable of making their own decisions. According to liberalism, the state should have limited powers. The main duty of the state is to protect individual rights. Freedom of speech, religion, and expression is essential. The state should be ensure social justice and welfare. Modern liberalism also support welfare policy to reduce inequality. Neoliberalism emerged in the late 20th century as response to welfare state. It focuses more on economic freedom rather than political freedom. Neoliberalism believes that the market is more efficient than the state. The role of the state should be minimal. Privatization and free trade should be promoted. Competition increases efficiency and growth. Neoliberalism support globalization and discourage state intervention in the economic. Difference: liberalism and neoliberalism emphasize political freedom, emphasize economic freedom. That means like liberalism emphasize करता है political को और neo करता है economic को. And liberalism करता है support welfare state and neo करता है अपोज वेलफेयर स्टेट हैज लिमिटेड बट एक्टिव रोल. स्टेट शुड विथड्रॉ फ्रॉम इकोनॉमिक, फोकस ऑन राइट एंड जस्टिस. Liberalism and focus on market efficiency. That means neoliberalism. Okay. Here is some difficult word meaning. Ideology, a system of idea of beliefs. Welfare state, that means a state that provides social service. Privatization यानी transfer of public services to private sector. Globalization, worldwide economic integration, intervention, government involvement. And second question is elaborate upon dialectical materialism. Dialectical materialism is a philosophical theory developed by Karl Marx and Fritz Engels. It is the founded of Marxist theory and is used to explain social, economic, and historical change. The term has two parts. Dialectical, that means change through conflict. Materialism, that means imported of material, that means economics condition. Meaning of dialectical means that development takes place through contradictions and conflicts. Every situation contains opposing forces and their struggle leads to change. Meaning of materialism means that economic conditions such as production, labor, and ownership of resources shape society. Idea and beliefs comes after material conditions. Main features: history progresses through class struggle. Economics base determines social and political institution. Change in continuous and inevitable. Capitalism will eventually be replaced by socialism. Marx argued that history develops through stages like feudalism, capitalism, and socialism. And here is some importance. Dialectical materialism help us understand social inequality, exploitation of labor, economics roots of political power. And now we can see difficult words meaning. Dialectical, that means based on conflict and contradiction. Materialism, that means focus on material condition. Class struggle, that means conflict between social classes. Exploitation, that means unfair use of labor. Economics base यानी कि system of production. Third question is conservatism. About 200 words. Answer: Conservatism is a political ideology that emphasizes tradition, social stability and continuity. हम लोगों ने देखा था कि कंजर्वेटिव, तो जो कंजर्वेटिव है वो कंजर्वेटिज्म से बिल्कुल मिलता जुलता है. वी कैन राइट इंक्लूडिंग बोथ. So, it believes that society should not change suddenly or radically. Conservatism argued that tradition, custom, religion, and institution developed over time and should be respected. Sudden reforms may disturb social balance. Main ideas of conservatism include respect for tradition and culture, importance of family and religion, gradual social change, authority and discipline in society. Conservatism does not oppose freedom, but believes freedom should be exercised with responsibility. It supports hierarchical and social order. Thinkers like Edmund Burke argue that society is a partnership between past, present, and future generation. Here is some difficult word meaning. Tradition, that means custom passed down over time. Stability means balance and continuity. Hierarchy, that means ranking system in society. Authority, that means legitimate power. Radical, that means extreme or sudden change. It's not allowed in conservative. Okay, now we can see fourth question. Third wave of feminist political theory. Answer. The third wave of feminism emerged in the 1990s. Unlike earlier waves, it focused on diversity and identity rather than only equality. Third wave of feminism argued that women have different experiences based on race, class, caste, culture, and sexuality. It rejects the ideas that all women face the same problems. Main features focus on intersectionality, acceptance of multiple identities, criticism of patriarchy, emphasis on personal choice. This wave also challenged stereotypes and traditional gender roles. Here is some difficult word meanings. Feminism, that means movement for a woman or women rights. And intersectionality, that means overlapping social identities. Patriarchy, that means male dominate system. Identity, sense of self. Stereotype, fixed generalization. Now we have fifth question. Having the fifth question, Michael Foucault views on postmodernism. Answer. Michael Foucault was a major postmodern thinker. He rejected traditional ideas of truth and knowledge. According to Foucault, power exists everywhere, not only in the state. Knowledge and power are interconnected. Truth is constructed. He studied institutions like prisons, hospitals, and schools to show how power controls individual. दैट मीन्स जो हमारे फॉकल्ट है वो नॉलेज एंड पावर दोनों को बोलते थे इंटरकनेक्टेड है. नॉलेज भी चाहिए, पावर भी चाहिए. So Foucault believes that modern society use subtle form of control rather than force. Now we can see some difficult word meanings. Postmodernism, that means critique of modern ideas. Discourse, that means system of ideas and language. Power means ability to control. Institution, that means organized system. Social constructed, that means created by society. Now we having some six questions. Procedural versus substantive democracy. Answer. Procedural democracy focuses on method and procedures such as election, voting, and rules. If procedures are followed, democracy is considered successful. Substantive democracy focuses on outcomes such as equality, justice, and real participation of people. Procedural democracy, substantive democracy, emphasis on role, emphasis on result, election important, social justice important. अब मैंने एक एक ऊपर चेक करके लिख दिया, जो कि ये हमारा जो ऊपर वाला है ना, ये बताता है, एक मिनट, ये बताता है प्रोसीड्यूरल डेमोक्रेसी यानी कि और सबस्टैंटिव डेमोक्रेसी, और जैसे जैसे लिखा है वैसे यानी कि प्रोसीड्यूरल डेमोक्रेसी बात करता है emphasis ऑन रोल, और सबस्टैंटिव बात करता है emphasis ऑन रिजल्ट्स. फिर फर्स्ट वाला इलेक्शन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है प्रोसीड्यूर के लिए, और सोशल जस्टिस इंपॉर्टेंट होता है सबस्टैंटिव के लिए. और ऐसे ही फॉर्मल डेमोक्रेसी बात करता है प्रोसीड्यूर, और रियल डेमोक्रेसी की बात करता है सबस्टैंटिव. नाउ वी कैन सी सम डिफिकल्ट वर्ड मीनिंग. प्रोसीड्यूरल, दैट मीन्स रिलेटेड टू प्रोसेस. सबस्टैंटिव, दैट मीन्स रिलेटेड टू कंटेंट. पार्टिसिपेशन, दैट मीन्स इन्वॉल्वमेंट. जस्टिस, दैट मीन्स फेयरनेस. नाउ वी कैन सी 7th क्वेश्चन. Theories of representation in democracy. Answer. Representation means that elect leaders act on behalf of people. Main theories. Trusted theories, representative views on judgment. Dialect theory, that means representative follows people's wishes. Mirror theory, that means legislature reflects society. Representation ensures participation and accountability in democracy. Here is some difficult word meaning. Representation, that means acting on behalf or of other. Truth, that means one who is trusted. Delegate, that means one who follow instruction. Accountability, that means responsibility. Now we can see 8 question, and 8 question is the last. 8th question is relationship between democracy and public opinion. Answer. Public opinion refers to the collective views of people. Democracy depends heavy on public opinion. In a democracy, governments are elected based on public opinion. Policy reflect people's demands. जो भी कानून बनता है पीपल्स के डिमांड से ही बनता है. मीडिया सेव्ड एंड सेपरेट ओपिनियंस. विदाउट पब्लिक ओपिनियन डेमोक्रेसी लॉसेस मीनिंग. मतलब बिना पब्लिक ओपिनियन का डेमोक्रेसी के पास कोई मीनिंग ही नहीं बचेगा. Now you can see difficult word meaning. Public opinion, that means people's collective views. Policy, that means government decision. Media, that means communication channels. Participation, that means public involvements. So thanks for listening. All history, all explanation about BPSC 808, that means 101. एंड नाउ यू कैन सी मैंने सारी चीज़ कंप्लीट करने की कोशिश की है। ओवरव्यू आप इतना भी करके जाएंगे तो मैं पूरा मैं सिक्योरिटी करके कर रही हूँ कि आप लोग इंक्लूड करके लिख सकते हैं, क्योंकि हम सब ग्रेजुएशन में हैं, हम इतना तो कर ही सकते हैं। सो बाय फ्रेंड, इफ़ यू लाइक रियली, इफ़ यू थिंक दैट लाइक ये काफ़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है आपके लिए, तो प्लीज़ कम से कम